Okay, welcome to the explanation for today's lesson on successful revolution. We're going to be examining here 3 different revolutions to determine what really made one more successful than the others in the long run, and this really is designed to help you prepare for your post-assessment here that we're coming up to very soon. To start off, our previously covered content that is going to relate to this lesson is as follows. First off, as we all know, the Revolutionary War ends, George Washington's a war hero, and we have the United States Constitution that's created. These 2 things help America to become a stronger country that's more able to handle conflict. So with these 2 combined, we are now going to be able to do some other things that previously we really couldn't concern ourselves with. For instance, we were able to purchase Louisiana as a country under the leadership of Thomas Jefferson, and we're also able to gain Florida under the leadership later on, really, and we'll talk about Andrew Jackson as a military leader being very important in this one. Now, with that being said, it wasn't only that America did this by themselves. There actually were instances of revolutions around the world that actually impacted our ability to gain these lands. Toussaint Louverture led slaves in Haiti to rebel against France, which is what opened up our opportunities for gaining Louisiana. And then Simon Bolivar, you like my accent there, I'm sure you do. He helped us in America to be able to gain land, or I'm sorry, to be able to gain Florida, because the revolutions he was leading in Central America were really preoccupying Spain there, so that he wasn't able to, or so that the country of Spain was not able to focus as much on holding on to Florida. So it's interesting to think about how these separate revolutions were occurring really close in time to the American Revolution. They really impacted us in America, and well, if you look at it throughout history, Venezuela and Haiti, they are not at the same level as the United States is today. So why is that? Now, summing up the unit, this was the question we've been really focusing on the whole time, which is what does a country need to have in order to build a strong foundation for the future? Well, comparing these 3 countries, I think that what we can do today is look at the 3, look at what happened to them, how they all gained their freedoms in similar time periods, and compare it to see what made it so that the U.S. was a little bit more successful than the other ones, and we'll look at it in specific criteria as we go through today's lesson. Now, this is your content rubric that we've been talking about, so just to think about it, I want you guys to be thinking about leadership, government framework, focus on citizens, and other things as we go through this, so you can maybe come up with some ideas that you can connect back to your project at the end. So it's something to be thinking about in the back of your head. Now, the first thing you need to do, and by the way, all of these instructions are on Blended Schools too, so don't worry, it is all there for you. The first thing you need to do is find some data about these different countries moving forward. We're talking about modern data, not data from when they first gained their freedom. As you can see on the left, there is a note guide. It's in Blended Schools, and it'll also be in an email for you to download, in which you're going to analyze certain criteria about the country just to see what the differences are between them. You can use the CIA World Factbook. It's an awesome resource, and whenever you get there, what you will do is click on this select a country or location. It'll let you bring it down, and you can pick any country that you would like, and then from there there's all kinds of different tools that you can use to analyze data. It's really a data heavy thing. I mean, you can find data as far as the amount of telephones that are in a country. I mean, it really is pretty impressive what the CIA has gathered here. Once you've done that and you've completed all of that, I want you to rank them. I want you to rank the countries in order. Now, I'm assuming that you guys are going to have the United States as number 1. Is it going to be Venezuela 2 or Venezuela 3? Haiti 2, Haiti 3. Why? I want you to think about that. A second website that's pretty good to gauge this is this Heritage Economic Freedom, or Index of Economic Freedom website. The one thing that this website does differently than the CIA Factbook is it provides you with more detailed explanations of things. Sometimes the vocabulary is at a really high level, but if you get past the introductory paragraph for each of the different countries, you'll find that it makes a lot more sense then. So I would suggest looking at that because it's a good read on that, explaining why certain countries are the way that they are. Third, when you're done with all that, you can move on to a comparison to content rubric here. In other words, you're going to compare those countries now to this. Leadership, government framework, focus on citizens, and other criteria. These things are no longer the stats that you're going to get from the CIA Factbook. This is you starting to internalize and saying, you know what, they did have good leadership or they didn't have good leadership. They did have a good government framework or they didn't. You'll be able to read a little bit about some corruption that occurs in some of these governments, and that's really one of the biggest drawbacks and biggest things that hurts them. And then fourth, when you finish up with all that, you are free to work on your project. I do want you guys to really focus on the content right now. Do not focus on the final product. Do not look for visuals for a movie or for a presentation. Do not start thinking about any of that stuff right now. Just try to organize your content into those different categories that I've collected for you. And then also start finding areas where research is needed. That's one of the big things you want to start doing right now. The reality with research is that the point of research is to look up things you don't know. So if you're going through your content, you're saying, I know what I'm supposed to find, but I just don't really know the answer, then what you can do is use that as one of your research areas. Search on the internet, search it in the textbook or in another book that you may have access to. Write down where you got it, the information you're going to use, and that's a great way to start gathering resources for you so that you have them for the end of your project. Because remember, you have to have a minimum of 2 to get a proficient on that specific criteria, or you can have 3 or more to get a mastery level reference use. Also, start planning out your workload. Start thinking about how much this is going to really entail. I think that'll help you if you think about looking forward to all the days and all the things you have to accomplish. The more you can get done ahead of time, the better, and especially research and content. That's one thing that those are 2 things you're going to want to get done earlier on. So that is it for today. Good luck. I know you guys will be on your best behavior, but if you have any questions, feel free to send an email. But I'm probably not going to be able to get back to you very quickly, but I will be able to over the weekend. All right, and good luck and make today a great day.